Warning. The following video contains a straight man rating every Genshin Impact male character. The ratings are based on my own perception of the characters, and therefore a lot of details may be straight up incorrect. If you are someone that cannot handle your favorite husbando being judged, or are a stickler for details, this video may not be for you. Viewer discretion is advised. And recommended. In celebration of Pride Month, I have decided to sit down and rate every single Genshin Impact male character as a perfectly straight man. Because, as a wise friend once told me, even the straightest of wood can bend under the correct conditions. Today, I'm going to be rating them on 3 separate categories, then combining their score to find out if there is truly a man for me in the world of Tevat. We're going to be rating them on their gameplay, which should be self-explanatory, their design, which is everything from their voice to their clothing, and their personality, which we are going to judge based on whether or not I would enjoy spending a day with the person in question. Now, the actual tier list of this video is going to be jumping around a lot as we will be going character by character, so do check the timestamps down below in the video in case you want to know my opinions on a certain one. This video is also ridiculously long, so I won't be going in depth on anyone more than I need to. That's everything. Let's get going. Let's start with Albedo. Albedo's gameplay is fairly boring. You really only ever use him to put down a flower onto the ground, you make him burst, and then he just boosts a bunch of damage, and that's kind of it. I will give him a plus point, however, for the fact that you can actually use his flower to glide up into the air. It's kind of useful. He gets a basically bargain bin C tier. In terms of his character design, it is very sleek and stylish, surprisingly. It is incredibly basic. There's nothing super stand-outish about him that makes me want to look in his direction, except for his hair. I don't know what it is about Albedo's hair, but I actually really like it. It's oddly captivating. I'm putting it in B tier. As far as personality goes, this is a bit of a weird one because I think if I spent a day with Albedo, we would most likely either just be exploring someplace where he felt like we should, or we'd just be talking about a bunch of alchemy that I have absolutely no idea how any of it works. Honestly, a little bit boring. D tier. Next one up on the list is Alhaitham. Alhaitham's gameplay to me is actually really fun. The way that he kind of infuses his own auto attacks to become different when he uses his skill. He is a super good Dendro aggravator, and it just feels really satisfying to play him. He does sort of lack the, I suppose he lacks variance, if I had to say anything. I'm putting him in B tier. He's pretty damn good. Design-wise, I actually really enjoy Alhaitham's design. It does feel very similar to the principle that Albedo uses, in that it's meant to be very sleek and professional looking. Like, it is very sort of, I'm supposed to be a professional, but I'm a little bit of a bad boy, so I don't really give a crap, and he dressed his own way. I think it's perfectly suited for someone like him. So I'm actually going to put his design in A tier. I like it a lot. In terms of personality, I think this is where me and Alhaitham would clash the hardest. He is a 100% super serious businessman. He has no time for silly shenanigans or games, and he is all about that. Spending a day with him, he would probably just be focusing on work the entire goddamn time, and he'd just look at me as something that just shouldn't be hurt. It'd be really, I don't know, I don't think I'd enjoy hanging out with him. I'm putting him in F tier. I really don't think me and Alhaitham would get along. Next one up is Baizhu, or Baizhu. I don't know how he's pronounced. I think it's Baizhu? I always forget how his name is pronounced. I'm incredibly sorry. Baizhu, to me, gameplay-wise, is fairly straightforward and basic. He comes in, does his shield, you burst, and he tells you to go to the doctor, and that's basically all that he does. I'm putting him in C tier. It's bottom of the line. It's just okay. There's nothing weird about it. Design-wise, though, I actually really enjoy Baizhu's design. His super relaxed, sort of calm, doctor-looking style, I guess, it kind of gets to me. I like it a lot. The snake is also just an adorable little touch, even though it's got plot relevance, you know? But I kind of feel like it does exactly what it wants to do in a really, really good way. I'm putting it in A tier as well, alongside Alhaitham. I think it's super, super interesting. When it comes to personality for Baizhu, I I don't really know on this one. I feel a day with Baizhu would mostly be spent looking after Chi-Chi, like helping out in the little medical store that they have in Liyue. And I think that'd be like a very relaxing time. He would probably just treat to some tea and we just talk about life in a weird way. It wouldn't be anything extremely exciting or anything, but I think it'd be really nice. I'm actually putting him in C tier. I think a day with him would be kind of just neat. Next one up, we've got Bennet. And Bennet, of course, is known for his gameplay, if anything else, because all you have to do with Bennet is press your burst button and everyone else becomes stronger. I actually kind of think that this sucks. I really would have hoped that Bennet would have done something else other than literally just be a button click pass kind of guy. So I'm actually putting Bennet's gameplay in D tier. It is very, very boring. In terms of Bennet's design, though, I actually think it's okay. Bennet is not something like outstanding or anything. He has super basic, I don't know, scouts clothing is what I want to call it. Though that's not necessarily the case. He looks like a mix between a scout and an engineer, which is not bad, honestly. It falls under completely okay. It's mediocre, but that's okay. I'm putting him in C tier for design as well. When it comes to spending a day with Bennet, though, I kind of feel bad for the guy because, of course, he is notoriously known for having awful luck. I feel like anything that he would plan the day to be would go to absolute shit, and you would just kind of be stuck doing whatever it is happens afterwards. Not necessarily a bad thing, but you can only handle so much bad luck in a day before you go, okay, I'm kind of tired of this now. I'm going to put him in D tier alongside Albedo, only for that reason. I think he's probably just a wonderful guy who happens to be unlucky, but unfortunately, unlucky is what he is. Right, next one up, we have Chongyun. Chongyun's gameplay is very interesting, honestly. He is supposed to be some sort of on-field cryo, great sword, smash. I'm not really entirely sure what they designed him to be honest. He enables cryo infusions on everyone wielding a melee weapon alongside of his own attacks, basically applying more cryo, but he isn't very good to keep on field. He does have a very cool ascension a constellation passive in that he can reduce skill cooldowns, which is super interesting. But I kind of feel like Chongyun falls in the middle of the road in terms of gameplay. He goes into the C tier. There's nothing terribly exciting, but he is pretty cool. Design-wise, I mean, he's a little spirit guy. Not spirit guy, what's it called? He's an exorcist. That's what the name is. He is an exorcist, and you can see that he has fairly traditional clothing when it comes to that. I would say it's perfectly acceptable. He does have the whole ice cream thing going on, which is a little bit cute, to be honest. But I feel it's fairly middle of the road. Then again, this is a 4-star, so we can't really be expecting a ton of design choices here. But I think it fits his character well enough. I'm going to put it in B tier alongside Albedo. I think it's perfectly okay. Actually, you know what? I'll put it in C tier next to Bennet. That's probably more fitting. Personality-wise, I think Chongyun is actually one of the first people that would be generally interesting to hang out with for a day. Like, you have to imagine, this man is chasing spirits. Like, that's cool just by itself. But Chongyun's personality really, like, puts him down as a laid-back, kind of worried. Not worried, necessarily. I don't know how to explain it well. He seems fairly laid-back, but professional, I guess is the way I want to call it. I'm not really sure how to describe it. I would kind of like hanging out with him for a day, actually, so I'm going to put him in B tier. Next one up is Cyno. Cyno is a very, very interesting character. I will say that his gameplay, unfortunately, isn't really that great. They kind of overloaded his kit with a lot of flashy gimmicks, but for no discernibly good reason. His theming is on point, but it is kind of attack string and combos just feel off for some reason. I'm putting him in C tier as well, simply because I believe there could have been just better things going on with his gameplay. However, when it comes to his design, I actually adore Cyno's design. Despite the fact that he is basically wearing nothing for most of the time, that whole Egyptian dog theme he's got going on fits so well with the desert he's supposed to belong to that it just kind of works out. The fact that he uses, like, his signature polearm to me is a little bit weird because it's not much of a polearm, it's more of like a staff or a stick. But it's still really, really good. I'm putting him in A tier alongside of Baizhu and Alhaitham. I really, really enjoy it. When it comes to personality, this man, I think, is probably one of the ones that I would enjoy hanging out with the most. I am a dad humor man. He could put any amount of jokes into me that he wants, and I would be laughing, and I would be giving them back because he goddamn deserves it. But more so than anything, he loves playing the TCG. And anyone that is willing to just whip out their deck and start a duel, that is something that I can get behind. Spending a day with Cyno would literally just be finding like a cafe or a fucking restaurant somewhere and going, you know what, let's just sit here and play card games for the rest of the day. And he'd be perfectly okay with that. He's going into A tier. I think hanging out with him would be great. Next one up is Diluc. Diluc is another weird character that I haven't really had the time to play all that much, but honestly, I don't think that is bad necessarily. Diluc's gameplay is fun in the sense that he has kind of auto attack resets based on his skill, where you can intertwine an auto attack with a claymore with his skill to do a little bit of Bengali shenanigans, but it is fairly like basic. He is a standard 5-star, don't get me wrong, and has literally been in the game since the very start, so I don't think it's necessarily the greatest design possible, but honestly, I'm just gonna put him in the D tier for gameplay, now that I'm thinking about it, because he is very one-note. His bird is a little bit cool though, but it feels outdated. Design-wise, his design gets the message across. It is fairly good. I will say, I am not rating them based on their skins in this video, but if I did, he'd be scoring much higher because his skin is very, very good for him. It's perfectly fitting. Should probably be his normal design anyway, but it is very sleek. It is very professional. It looks pretty good, but he's going into C tier because it is just plain boring otherwise. In terms of personality, I think Diluc is another one of those that I would not like hanging out with at all. He is very caretaking of his job, and that is kind of his main deal, even though he's the Dark Knight hero and he saves the city by nighttime or whatever. You wouldn't really be seeing that much of him because that's not something you would do with him. I can't figure out anything that Diluc would be doing with you that would warrant you having fun in a day-to-day aspect. I'm putting him in F tier alongside Alhaitham. It's too professional for my tastes. Next one up, my man, my bro, my absolute badang, Itto. Itto's gameplay to me is the absolute perfection when it comes to I am a big man with big sword who do big bonk. I think Itto fits that perfectly. All Itto wants to do is get on field, show that he's the strongest, and gloat about it. And it's awesome. There's just so much in his kit that makes him scream out to be like the poser of the group, and I kind of adore that. He does suffer from the same thing Alhaitham does, in that he does get very repetitive, but at least he has different combo strings and attack chains depending on what you are doing with him. I'll still put him in B tier, because again, he does share the same sort of problems, but at the very least, I do like him a lot. Design-wise, I think Itto's design is priceless. Anyone who has actually laid eyes on Itto will know that he exuberates his personality in his design, and it is not even remotely close. Big fucking club, got all of his muscles out for no other reason than showing them off, let's be honest. And he is dressed in very traditional Inazuman clothing, obviously based on Japanese samurais and things like that. It's super good. I like it so much. It is on the same level as Cyno's, definitely. It goes up there. Personality-wise, I am actually going to drop a fat bomb on this one, because Itto is receiving the personality crown for this category. I don't think there is a single person in this list that I dream I could hang out with more than Itto. You've got to put this into perspective, right? Itto is the bro. He will do anything on God's green earth to make sure that you're having a good time, and he will be laughing the entire way. He would bring you along with the entire crew of him and Kuki and the 3 other guys that I can't remember the name of right now, and you would just have a blast the entire time, and that's the whole reason you're out. He would take any amount of time out of his day to ensure that you are having fun. That's priceless to me. I would be fucking going along Inazuma with him and just absolutely causing a racket, and it's not even a contest. Itto's personality is just awesome. I would spend any amount of time with that guy if I could. He's great. Next up on the block is Freminet, one of the more recent males we've had, and honestly, his gameplay is very interesting to me. Being a Claymore character that focuses on the shatter reaction through some strange mean, he has one of the most unique gameplay styles in the entire game, being that you actually have to time your skill usage to your normal attacks to decide what his skill is going to do. I find that to be really, really cool of a concept. Unfortunately not executed in possibly the best way with Freminet, but the fact that they went out and explored it meant that characters after him actually had a greater chance. I kind of like Freminet. I'm putting him in C tier alongside of Cyno and most of the other cast for now, because he is genuinely very interesting to play. Design-wise, he is kind of boring, realistically. He is a very shy person, and thus his sort of stylistic choices really reflect that. Wearing almost entirely black clothing, trying to keep as low down as possible. I will say he does get a bonus point for his whole diving helmet shtick. It is a little bit cool to see that, but unfortunately I think it's still fairly boring of a concept when it comes down to it, so I'm going to put him in the C tier next to Bennet, because that's basically where he belongs. Personality-wise, I also think he suffers a little bit, because obviously he is a very, very shy guy, and who can really blame him? Come on. He would probably be trying his best the entire day to basically say what he wants to say to you, but then again, it's not gonna work all that well. I think if you only had a single day to hang out with Freminet, you wouldn't really get anything done during that day. You'd need like a week, 2 weeks. A year. I don't know. You'd need a lot more time than just a single day to really get to know Freminet. But unfortunately, we're only basing it off of a single day, which means he's going into the D tier. He is not someone that I would outright dislike hanging out with, but it would be very socially awkward to just kind of sit there and stare at each other for multiple hours. Right, next one up is Gaming. Gaming might be one of the most interesting characters on this entire list, because he has one of the most unique playstyles. He wants to plunge attack, being that he can actually enable it himself. Much like Xiao, I suppose, because Xiao can obviously also do that. I find it incredibly interesting that he's... I don't know, it's just a lot of flair in his gameplay kit that makes him really fun to play. Yes, he's still a Claymore character, and you are essentially doing the same thing all the time, but all of the sort of like spins and jumps that he does throughout his gameplay makes him super fun. I'm actually putting him in A tier. He's one of the more fun characters on this list to play. He does everything right in that sense. Design-wise, I actually kind of like his design too. It's a little bit too flashy for my liking. Obviously, he's meant to be a lion dancer, I believe they are called. So there is a lot of flashy lights and things to kind of show off the fact that he's performing all the time. But it does kind of live into his design, realistically speaking. He's also basically wearing a hoodie at all times and just kind of looks like a chill guy. So honestly, I'm putting him in B tier alongside Albedo. He's pretty cool. When it comes to personality, I think this is one of the better ones as well, because Gaming is just generally kind of a good guy. Like, he wants you to have a good time and has absolutely no problem going out of his way to make sure that you have that. If you're hanging out with Gaming for a day, it could be anything from traveling to literally just having food. I kind of like the guy. He goes in A tier. I'd probably hang out with him a lot. Gorou is up next. Our only, I think, dog on this entire list, really, unless you're going to count Wriothesley, but I'm not going to do that. Gorou's gameplay is probably the most boring out of everyone on this list. You drop your flag, you drop your burst if you don't have your flag, and then Gorou leaves. He doesn't do anything else. At least with Bennet, you can make the excuse that you can keep Bennet on the field for a couple of teams due to the energy recharge stuff, but you don't do that with Gorou. Gorou goes into the F tier for gameplay. He's very, very boring. Design-wise, I do kind of like Gorou's design, in all fairness. He is meant to be a general. He has all the dog aesthetics that you expect him to do. His outfit is nice and clean. It's just very boring. There's nothing outstandish about it. There's no features that really make me scream, oh yeah, that's really cool. Like, he's got a shoulder pad. That's it. He does get a pass for most of the characters, though, because there are a lot of very basic designs, so we're simply putting him in C tier. I don't think it's necessarily a failure of any mean. It's just very boring. I think Gorou, however, is going to get probably a D tier in terms of personality, because what would you really do when you hang out with Gorou? Like, he's too busy being a general to really do anything else. He's just kind of, you know, busy with his job. Like, yeah, you might travel with him a bit, but like, what's the point? The best thing you could hang out with Gorou for is meeting Kokomi. And that's saying something. Alright, next one up is Aoife. Aoife is the most common one that we have access to, actually. The most common. No, the most recent one. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. And luckily for Aoife, his gameplay is actually rather fun. Yes, he is kind of just an on-field animo driver for what he does, but his attack animations are very flashy. He's got a very different playstyle, depending on if you're playing as a normal attacker or if you're using his skill to swirl electrocharged. And he just generally feels pretty good to control when you're doing all of this. I'm actually putting him in B tier. He does really well when you play him. His design, on the other hand, though, I dislike it so much, and I can't put my finger on why. Like, his whole Ranger Doctor's outfit is actually pretty okay. I kind of like the idea that as a traveling doctor, he is mostly clad in what is it called? Road leathers, I think it is. His cowboy hat is a little bit awkward, I suppose. But again, for someone traveling a lot, I suppose that makes sense. But there's just something about his face that puts me off in the wrong way. I think it's the fact that he looks disinterested all the time. I can't tell what it is, really. It's such a weird position to be in because I actually like the attire that he wears, but I would have rather have it on a character that wasn't him? I don't know. I'll give him like a reluctant C, because I feel like that's only fair. Personality-wise, though, unfortunately, Aoife is going into the F tier alongside the others, but for like all the weirdest reasons. While I absolutely adore Itto's personality in the terms that he really feels like your big brother, this is the guy who really takes care of you and wants you to have a good time, Aoife comes off as annoying. Tremendously annoying, actually. I think that is in part due to his stupid pink ball bird. Cacao, I think it is. I don't remember. But just the fact that he keeps ending all of his sentences with bro, as if it's... I don't know how to explain it, but he feels like a Gen Z kid living out his wildest dream in his personality, and I cannot take that. If he was just a calm and relaxed doctor in the similar vein of like Baizhu. Fuck, I'm never gonna be able to pronounce that. I think he would be much, much better off in this particular tier list, because I would have genuinely wanted to hang out wandering around Natlan and, you know, helping animals and things. That'd be great. But I wouldn't want to do it with someone that just actively makes me want to put a bullet in my own head. Next one on the chopping block is Kazuha. Kazuha, I think, has very, very fitting gameplay, if that makes sense. His entire kit and the playstyle you have with him really fits his personality and the thing that he wants to be. I think it's basic. It's not the most fun thing in the universe, I'm not going to pretend that, but I will say it does feel good to do. It feels good to play Kazuha. So I think he goes into the B tier alongside the other characters who just really feel good to play. Design-wise, I think Kazuha really fits the vibe that they're going for with him. His outfit is very flowing, like the wind, obviously, but still takes heavy inspiration from the samurais of old. I think it is almost a perfect match for what they intended to do with him. I think it's really good. It's going into A tier. His design is not immaculate, but it is really good. Personality-wise, I also think spending a day with Kazuha would be super interesting. Most likely, it would just be wandering from place to place, or potentially riding on the boat with Beidou, I suppose, but I think just the stories that he would be able to tell in a day's time would be interesting enough. Like, I would be sold there. I'm putting him in the B tier because he might not necessarily be the best person for me to hang out with, but I would have a ton of fun spending a day with him. Alright, next one up is Kaeya. Kaeya's gameplay is, again, as a starter 4-star character, not really expected to be super interesting. His burst is a little bit cool, and the fact that you can ice bridge with him is really neat. But he doesn't really have anything other than that, so I'm putting him into the D tier. It's not flashy or exciting enough to really warrant anything else. Kaeya's design, on the other hand, though, I actually think is completely okay. He is supposed to be a cavalry captain, obviously, with absolutely no fucking cavalry in the entirety of Teyvat, but you can really see his personality exuded in his style. I think that is, again, a very good thing for characters to have. You can clearly see that he's a bit of a sass, and that's perfectly fine. Also, Kaeya's ass into B tier you go. You are perfectly okay the way you are. Personality-wise, I think this is yet another character that I would not really enjoy spending time with. Though I will say I would enjoy spending time with him more than Diluc. At the very least, you could very easily have a drink with this guy and you would enjoy your time, because there would always be something to talk about, even if half of the things he says you probably shouldn't trust. I'll put him in D tier alongside all of the other characters that kind of fit this bill, but it's alright. I wouldn't outright hate hanging out with him. It'd probably be alright. Ayato is super interesting to me, because I actually really enjoy his playstyle. Not because it's necessarily very interesting, which I have bashed a lot of other characters for here, but because it perfectly encapsulates his personality into his kit. This is a super calm and composed warrior that quite literally stands still and slashes while fighting. This man knows he's better than you and will kick your goddamn ass without trying. Also, his entire kit is incredibly flashy. All of the slashes he does looks really clean. Even his burst, where it's just raining sword droplets, it looks really good. Ayato's gameplay is going into A tier. I enjoy it a lot. Design-wise, I also think Ayato has very good design, generally. Again, very composed and professional warrior who takes swordplay incredibly seriously. You can see that in his design, dressed in what is basically a coat and whatever it's called. I don't know what the like arm pieces are called that hang down. I don't know what the hell they're called, but they're super good looking. Unfortunately, it is very basic. There's nothing, again, super extravagant about it. It just looks very clean and nice. It's going into B tier. I think it's good. Personality-wise for Ayato, it's a bit of a mixed bag, honestly. Hanging out a day with Ayato could either be literally just walking around his goddamn mansion and just kind of taking in the world for a day and enjoying boba tea, I guess. Or it could be, you know, the most boring thing in the universe. It's such a weird one for Ayato, honestly. I don't really have anything to judge, because he's a very, like, quiet and contemporary? No, what the hell is that word? Contempt? I don't necessarily know if that's true either, but he's a very, like, he's a self-driving person. He doesn't really need you to do anything in his life. He kind of just, he considers you a guest the entire time, and not much more than that. I'm gonna put him into C tier alongside Baizhu. I would probably enjoy spending time with him, but it's one of those, like, I don't really know. Alright, so just a heads up now, you can see that the order is clearly reversed at this point. It's just because of how the program works. I'm sorry. The lettering is going to get really weird now, so we're jumping from one letter to another. Whatever, it's fine. Wanderer is up next, and Wanderer's gameplay is, I'm going to say again, it's very unique. The fact that he launches himself into the air and basically jet boosts himself around is actually kind of fun. His auto attack strings are also very flashy and look super cool. And the fact that he has the burst kick black hole thing, it's actually really dope. It fits his personality perfectly as well. It's going into B tier. I think it's really, really good. It's close to an A tier, though not quite. Design-wise, I am actually kind of okay with Wanderer's design, I'm not gonna lie. Wanderer's design is very fitting for who he is, I guess. It's kind of hard to explain my thoughts on it because I just think it's fitting. I don't have another word for it. I'm gonna put it into B tier. It is just good for him. That's it. Personality-wise, though, it's not even close. He's going into F tier. I would punch this kid in the face so many times just because he exists, you fucking piece of shit brat. Alright, we're going for Wriothesley, Dogman. Wriothesley's gameplay unfortunately falls under the, this is just really dull to me. What they could have done with this character if they wanted to make a really punchy guy that feels impactful when he throws punches is make him feel impactful. Like, Heizou did this years before Wriothesley, Dogman, was released. I don't know how they screwed it up. It's really weird to me. Like, all they had to do was make his punches feel impactful, but it feels more like a boxer who's pulling his punches. It's going into D tier, I'm sorry, it's just not good. Design-wise, though, I think it's perfectly fine. It is a little bit boring. He is obviously a prison warden, so you can kind of see the bad boy attitude on him, and I do agree that is very good, but I felt like they should have taken that further. Why did they not go all the way out on that? Do also keep in mind that this Japanese voice actor is the same person who voices Jotaro. They could have taken that so much further, and everyone would have been okay with it. I will say, though, I do like the jacket design. His actual overall clothing is very, very good. And obviously, he's got that cake. He goes into the cake tier of B, apparently. Personality-wise, this is also a very mixed bag for him. I feel like spending a day with him would either be literally just sitting in his office, sipping on tea, and talking about things he probably shouldn't be talking about, or you would just wait for him to finish all of his work when walking around. He is a very sociable person, which is strange for someone in his position. So I still think I would want to hang out with him, though I wouldn't necessarily know what the hell we would actually do. I'm putting him in the C tier alongside of Ayato because I feel like they suffer from the same problem. But I don't know, he might have been a B tier. I'm not entirely certain. Next up, we've got Xiao. Xiao has the same thing as Gaming, just slightly less flashy. He really likes to dash around, jump up into the air, and he creates like the spike pit thing that he does as a false down is really, really cool. But I do think his gameplay is worse than Gaming's, so I'm putting him in the B tier. It is perfectly okay. Design-wise, I actually like Xiao's design, but I feel like it falls flat. This is supposed to be the Demon Slayer Lord, whatever the hell his title is, I forgot. And he's just so basic. They could have added so many pieces of flair to this man. Why did they not? I felt like they are holding back on this one. Like, I'm not telling them to put him in a suit of armor or anything, but, like, give him more demonic features if you want to do that. Give him something that makes him look more powerful, because this guy is supposed to be, like, super strong. This is not a Goku situation. Like, there's nothing here. I'm putting him in D tier for disappointment alone. I wanted more out of Xiao. Personality-wise, he goes into the F tier. I'm sorry, but you try spending a single day with Xiao. Xiao is not even gonna fucking show up. He's ditching your date immediately. He doesn't care. There's nothing there to be gained. I'm sorry. Next one on the list is Xingqiu or Poetry Man. His gameplay is also a bit of a mixed bag, honestly. He has very flashy animations for a 4-star. I will give him this. He looks super clean. I also like the idea that he doesn't just use poetry as like an off combat thing. You can kind of tell by the way he moves and acts that he is very, I believe the British would call him posh. I'm not entirely sure that fits what I want to go for, but I'm going to use that word anyway. It feels really good to play him as well. His combo is very satisfying to use. He goes into B tier. I like him a lot. Design-wise, I like his design, but something just rubs me the wrong way about it. He does look like someone who would stand in the streets of Liyue and read poetry out loud, so I suppose it's fine. But it is a little bit flat. I don't know what it is. It might also just be the actual arms of his suit, dress, jacket. I can't really tell what it is. They look really, really, I don't know. It looks off somehow. I can't put my finger on what it is that what I feel about it, but it feels off. I don't know. His skin doesn't make it any better either. I actually dislike the skin more. I think I'll put him in a C tier. It's perfectly fine. I don't really mind it that much. Last up, personality. Honestly, I would kind of enjoy a day with Xingqiu, to be honest. I am not a sucker for poetry, but I am a sucker for history. And I feel like a lot of that kind of coincides with each other. This man also reads a lot of books, meaning there's always something interesting to talk about with him. And I feel like he would be willing to spend some of his time to go into these things, and he would probably deep dive into them as well. I actually think I'd enjoy a day with this guy. I'm putting him in B. I think it'd be really fun. Not necessarily as fun as the other toppers, but I would enjoy it. Next up, we've got Zhongli, the man of stone himself. Let's be honest here, there's a lot that can be said about his gameplay, where it's just putting a pillar out of the ground, and that's what it is. But I think it's perfectly fine. Also, the large Mora Comet is really fun to use, even if it takes a million years to come out. He gets a C tier. It's perfectly acceptable. I won't say he's necessarily that fun, but whenever I pull him out, I'm usually satisfied. Design-wise, I think he's odd. He is probably the oddest one out of everybody that I am putting on this list today, because I actually enjoy his professional outfit a lot. This might be one of the few characters on this list who I think wear the professional look the best. This man is obviously a god, or half-god, dragon. Yes, he's an Archon. That's where we're getting at with this. And his choice of attire does match the professionalism that would entail. He has really chosen to dress to impress, if that makes sense. He also really just rocks the fucking outfit. Like, come on. More so than I think any character on this entire list, bar except maybe Itto. This outfit just screams his personality. Stoic, very to the point, but still super honest about things that he can say unless he's contracted, apparently. I like Zhongli's outfit a lot. I'm going to put it into A tier because I think it is just so fitting to him. Personality-wise, I'm actually giving Zhongli an A tier because this is the character I feel I would want to sit down with and just chat. Nothing more. I don't think I would want to take him places. I don't think he would want to take me places either, to be honest. But if he pulled up with just a chair and a table and just plonked that shit on the ground, brought me some tea, we could probably sit there and talk for hours. Just because of genuine interest for the world around us. And I think that is exactly what I would want out of a man like him. It's great. I would love hanging out with him. Next one up is the Traveler. Yeah, we're rating the Traveler too here. And for the sake of this video, we're rating Aether. We're not rating Lumine. And Aether is, you know, he's lost his memories. So his memories is made up by everyone else's. Sure, he has his own experiences and thoughts, but I don't think that matters when you have the choice to hang out with anyone else. I'm gonna put him in the F tier for that, but this is gameplay. I'm dumb. In terms of gameplay, this is also a really weird thing to do. I don't know. His gameplay depends on which version of him you are playing, but they are all like very middle of the road, I feel. None of them are super exciting. I'll put him in low C tier because, let's be honest, I think that's fair. Because when you are playing him, there's probably one version of him that you like playing. I like playing the Dendro one. The Dendro one's fun. Design-wise, he is supposed to be infinite and also a blank slate at the same time. I'm putting him in F tier simply because there is nothing outstanding about him whatsoever, despite being the main character of the show. There could have been so much more here that we have yet to see, but he's just incredibly boring. And as I said, personality-wise, it's really weird for me to, like, rate him. I'll put him in D tier alongside the other people I probably wouldn't shoot myself to hang out with, but I think he loses a point similar to Aoife because of the fact that Paimon would be tagging along too. Alright, next one up is Sethos. Sethos is getting an A tier in terms of gameplay, and that is a very, very strong one. Sethos has one of the most unique gameplay styles, I think, in the entire game. Being a bow user that actively uses his energy to fire charge shots faster is super interesting. So not only do you have the possibility of using him as literally that, just a charge shot user, but if you burst with him, it turns all of his normal attacks into electro attacks, and he just becomes a super good quicken and hyper driver, whatever you want to use him as. He's super, super interesting as a playstyle, and I think we need more characters like Sethos in the game to really get unique playstyles. Next up is the design, and I actually really like Sethos' design too. Very basic in retrospect to someone like Cyno's, but it is still very fitting from where he is from. The whole, what is it, King Desiree, I think it is? The whole design flow with his clothing and just his general appearance is super, super strong. He's going into B tier. I still think Cyno does it better, but he's very, very close. Personality-wise, though, Sethos just seems like a cool guy, honestly. Spending time with him would probably be just as fun as hanging out with Cyno, so I'm putting them in the same list. Hanging out with them both at the same time would just be awesome, even though they're like frenemies, I guess. I like it a lot. I can't even get my words straight anymore. He exudes the same type of energy that Cyno does, but Cyno is the laid-back, super professional one, and Sethos is the energetic and very caretaking, but still less professional than Cyno. They make a good, they make a good match for each other, if that makes sense, and I think that's why I would like hanging out with either one of them. Next up on gameplay, we've got Heizou, and this, ladies and gentlemen, is the gameplay crown. I don't have a single character in the game that I enjoy playing more than Heizou. There is just something so alluring about Heizou's kit that I can't for the life of me put down. All of his punching, since obviously he is a catalyst character that uses his fists to fight, all of his punching feels incredibly satisfying. Every single auto attack string, there is literal weight behind his punches. That both comes from his animations, because you can actually see him put his entire weight into most of his attacks, but just the fact that Anemo helps swirl everything around you, there's this satisfying crunch in his gameplay when you start seeing all of the numbers show up. Not only that, but his burst is a very quick but satisfying explosion of Anemo that does exactly what you want it to do, and then we've got his super punch. There is not a single move in this entire goddamn game that I feel is more anime than his, Heartstopper punch or whatever it is. Not only is it a quick and effective way of dealing tons of damage, but if you just stand still and hold the button to charge it up, that is the most anime feeling in this entire game. It takes 5 episodes of screaming like a madman, and then it goes off, crits, and just deals so much damage. I absolutely adore Heizou's playstyle. It is a shame that he is not as good as many other characters on the list, but I will always like this boy. He is so much fun. I want to build him properly one day. I will build him properly one day. As far as Heizou's design goes, however, it is very, very boring. As much as I have played him, there's just not a lot going on with his design. He's supposed to be a detective, but there's nothing about his appearance that screams detective to me. He's just wearing, like, traditional Inazuman, aka Japanese clothing, and there's nothing more to it. His design flops, unfortunately. He's going into D tier along with Xiao, because there just should have been something more here. Personality-wise, I think it'd be perfectly okay to hang out with. He is a very busy work boy, but I think he'd be happy to take some time out of his life to just kind of have fun with you for a day. I'm gonna put him in the B tier. I think it'd be great to just kind of chill with him for a bit. Next one up is Childe, aka Tartaglia, aka Ginger Boy. Honestly, I think his gameplay is very unique as well, but the fact that he can swap between 2 weapons, bow and, I guess, dual sword, which is not really dual sword, but ranged in melee, let's say. I think that's a mechanic that Hoyo needs to revisit because it is super interesting to have. I think he's very well designed in that fact. I think he's super fun. He actually goes into A tier in terms of gameplay. There's very little that compares to his gameplay, to be frank. Design-wise, he's fine. There's nothing much to say about Chesnaya since we don't really know a lot of designs from there. I think he's just perfectly okay. I have nothing outstanding to say about him. I do like the little touch, though, that his super form, whatever it's called, he actually wears the mask on the side of his head for that. I kind of like that. He goes into C tier. Personality-wise, though, I will kick him to the curb anytime I see him. I hate this man. I do not want to have anything to do with him. Go away. Thoma is up next. Thoma is a very interesting man. Obviously, the male wife of the group, as people would call him. I think his gameplay is fairly simple. Obviously, his skill only creates a shield and it's just a backflip kick, which is impressive to say the least. But his burst is actually fairly interesting with the fact that it creates a shield on you and then actually attacks in correlation with you. I think that's a neat little thing. I'm going to put him into high C tier because, again, he doesn't really do a lot of it. You kind of just click 2 buttons, but at least it's very flashy and nice to look at. I will say, though, design-wise, he scores a strong A tier. I really, really like Thoma's design. Yes, it is, again, very basic, which I have hit a lot of the other characters for, but in his defense, that is what it's supposed to be. He is, what is he? He's not a maid, but he's like a housekeeper, a housetaker. He looks like he's ready to combat at any time, while still being able to wear his outfit casually. It just fits. It's really good. I'm just a sucker for his outfit, I think. I think it's just really, really good. Personality-wise, this man gets an A tier. Are you kidding me? Dude, spending a day with Thoma would be incredible. Literally, he'd probably just kind of take care of you for an entire day, let's be honest. And even if absolutely nothing happened in that day, he'd still find a way for you to do something with him. I adore Thoma. He's just such a cute little guy. Right, Tighnari is up next. Tighnari, I think, goes into the A tier for gameplay as well, simply because he has a very unique archery style. Yes, you are using charge shots, which there are multiple other bow users that do, But the fact that you can use him for almost any Dendro team as a main DPS is very, very interesting. Not only that, but of course he sets up the little homing missile things and has a taunt of his own. He's just really, really strong. It's kind of crazy. I like his gameplay a lot. Design-wise, I think he is perfectly okay. Obviously, he's meant to be a forest ranger, so he takes inspiration from a lot of flowers and other things. He's obviously also like a... What is he? Is he a rabbit? I'm not entirely sure what animal he takes inspiration from. I think it's a rabbit. Let's say it's a rabbit and move on. Obviously, his design is very, very everywhere. There's like capes, very baggy pants, kind of like... There's a weird mismatch between everything, but Tighnari kind of ties it together really nicely. I'm putting him in the B tier. I think it's perfectly okay. Or rather, more so than okay. I think it's actually interesting. Personality for him, I think, is an odd one. Because hanging out with Tighnari for a day could be anything from literally trying to clean up the forest of corruption to like blending medicine or just getting life lessons from the man. I think he would be one of the people that I, like some of the others on the list, I would just want to sit down and have tea with and just really talk about life for a moment. I think it'd be genuinely interesting to hear what he has experienced. I really enjoy that Eddie. I'm going to put him in like very high C tier, I think. All right, we're going into Kaveh. Kaveh is, he is. That is about all I can say about him. He's meant to be a Bloom DPS that infuses himself with Dendro, which is one of the weirdest things I've ever experienced, honestly. I've played very little Kaveh actively, but it is awkward. At the very least, though, he is not completely useless in terms of gameplay like Gorou is, so he goes into D tier. It's not for me. Design-wise, though, I actually think Kaveh is very, very strong in his design. We're going into A tier. Like, have you seen Kaveh before? This man is an architect, and he screams it. He looks prestigious from top to bottom, even though he definitely isn't. And the little, like, living carrier case just sends it over the top. It is almost perfection for my sake. I think he fits the vibe that he's going for perfectly. He's just a cool guy. Also, it's Kaveh, like, come on. Personality, I would actually rather hang out with Kaveh than a lot of these people, simply because I think he would be very interesting to talk to. He probably goes in the B tier. He goes above the tea time tier that it apparently is now, because I would actually want to hang out with Kaveh. More so to learn about, like, what the fuck it is that he's doing. And even so, like, when he starts talking about something that he really enjoys, he gets into it. He's, like, genuinely interested to tell you about his hobby or his thoughts or his feelings or whatever. I like that. I like someone who really, really gets into it. I think Kaveh would be cool to hang out with. That's it. I really think so. We're approaching the final couple now, and we're going into gameplay for Kinich. I keep calling him Gaming because he's a gamer boy, but that's not where we're going here. Kinich is getting a solid A in terms of gameplay because it is wholly unique. There is not another character in the entire game that plays the way that he does. Being able to tether to an enemy and basically go into a free-swinging pendulum around them and building up your little burst shot from your cannon arm, it feels really good. Yes, it's like a design mismatch, but that's not what this part of it is for. This is for the gameplay, and he's really fun to play. Design-wise, though, I'm going to give him a fat, solid disqualification because you do not belong in my game. This sounds horrific, I know, but his 8-bit retro style is such a style mismatch to everything else in the game. Gaming suffers from this as well because it is very, like, shiny and bright and fireworks everywhere and things like that, but at the very least, he's from Liyue. I can feel that that's fitting. He's a lion dancer. There should be spectacle. That's not Kinich. Kinich should not have all of these animations. He should not have an 8-bit aesthetic. It doesn't make sense. I dislike it so much that it is just getting sent down there. It does not go any higher. Personality-wise, he's kind of also a big brother in a sense. He's gonna be looking out for you for the entire day, but I don't feel like he would be the one to instigate anything fun. He would kind of just be there for you and wouldn't really care about anything else. I'm putting him in D tier. I wouldn't necessarily hate hanging out with him, but we would need, like, Mulaney or anyone else to tag alongside us for him to have fun. And that sucks for me. Right, next one up is Lyney. Lyney, I think, has, again, very unique bow gameplay styles, but not as fun as Tighnari is. His gameplay style revolves a lot more around his personal timing to get everything correct before you go into his, like, little cat go-kart thing. I'm gonna put him in high B tier. I still think he's very fun to play, but I don't necessarily think that he outbeats anyone else. I would happily play him, though. Design-wise, I actually think Lyney scores very high in the A tier. He is supposed to be a stage magician. That is his whole gimmick, and his outfit strikes that perfectly. A lot of flair just goes into how he looks. He has plenty of pockets and spaces where he could do his, magic trick. I think it's really, really good. Personality-wise, I also think Lyney is quite good. I think I would want to spend a day with him, even though I'd be afraid that Arlecchino would be watching the entire time, but honestly, some people are probably into that, so that's fine. I'm gonna put him in high B tier. I think it would actually be really cool to hang out with him, because he would plan something extravagant, If you were meeting him and really hanging out with him for the first time, he would want to make an impression. And he is so good at doing his stage act thing that it's just, I think it'd be really cool. If Lynette was there, this would go into A tier easily because the both of them would be super fun, but just him by himself is pretty cool. Mika. I am so sorry for what I'm about to do to you because you might just be the most boring character I've ever picked up. Yes, you actually have on-field time and your gameplay mechanics are supposed to do something, but you might just be the most blatantly ignored character in the entire game. You just do not do enough. Your skill cooldown has a ridiculously long cooldown, meaning you don't even get to be useful on field for very long. And your burst is mediocre at best. You're going down here with Gorou. I'm sorry. Design-wise though, Mika is kinda boring as well. I don't necessarily have any open problems with Mika's design, but he is just so boring. There's nothing about Mika that makes me want to play him. He goes into D tier. He doesn't get disqualified, but it's close. Personality-wise, I think Mika is also kind of okay. He's a little bit of a wimp, which is annoying. I don't really want to be looking after someone when I'm trying to have fun, so I kind of pair him in the same vein I pair Freminet. I wouldn't necessarily hate hanging out with him, but I don't think he'd be interesting for long enough for me to really care that he's there. So it's like fine. Next up, we've got Neuvilette, and let's be honest here, Neuvilette's stupid cannon laser is going into A tier. One of the most unique catalysts in the entire game, and the fact that you get to roleplay as Goku whenever you feel like it is just awesome. His gameplay is fun, he deals an absolute butt ton of damage, and it looks flashy as all hell. It's awesome. As for design, this, ladies and gentlemen, is our crown. I cannot explain to you how much I enjoy Neuvilette's outfit. Neuvilette is the character that absolutely oozes professionalism more than anyone else in the entire game, and he absolutely fucking rocks it. This man shows up at your doorstep, you know you've done fucked up, and you don't even have to look him in the eyes to know this. It's not the Udex outfit, because I don't want to call it that, but there is just something so goddamn imposing about how his shoulders are sort of jutted out past his arms that makes him look scary. Not scary in the sense of, holy shit, I'm going to die, but scary in, this man means business. You don't fuck with this guy. That is not even to explain his hair. I know I haven't really gone into the hair a lot, even though I could probably make a hair tier list by itself. I absolutely fawn over this man's hair. I want his hair. I would not fit in his hair for not even a little bit. But god damn it, if there is one hairstyle out of every male that I'm going to compliment in this video, his hair is fucking sexy. There is no other word to describe his hair. It's fucking attractive. I am a straight man. I am into that hair. It should be illegal. No, there's so many details to go over on Neuvilette's outfit. All of the small hydro tidbits that stick out. The fact that all of the, like, the plain-esque design melts so well into its overall look. I could not give the crown to anyone else other than Neuvilette. It is incredible. In terms of personality, he's also getting a very strong A tier, and it's an A tier for the exact same reason as Zhongli, actually. I would absolutely love to spend a day in his office. He could happily be working along with whatever he's doing, and if I find something interesting, he's going to take time out of his day to tell me about it. If I want to know something, I can just ask him and he'll happily share it. You could literally sit over a drink and he could be doing, you know, what the fuck ever in his chair over there, and I could just be walking around his office for an entire day. I would have fun, and I'm pretty sure he would just enjoy the company. Even though I'm, you know, a little screamy sometimes, but he deals with people who are like that, so I think it's fine. Like, I would genuinely really want to sit down for tea with this man. Not in the tea time tier where that's the only thing we can do, but I want him to tell me stories. He's gotta have so many stories to tell. Alright, we're on the final 3. We're going to Ororon. Ororon's gameplay is very basic, but thankfully he has quite a lot of flash in his kit. There's just something satisfying about throwing out his little ball and kind of putting down a... I don't even know what his burst is meant to be, actually, like a megaphone thing. He's a very strong C. He doesn't really do a lot by his own, similar to Thoma, but at the very least, it's pretty cool. Design-wise, Ororon's design is priceless. He's going into A tier. I don't necessarily know what it is about it, but he kind of encapsulates the emo kid in all of us, I guess. Like, Ororon looks like what an OC I would have made when I was 12 would have looked like. He hits every single one of the boxes. He's got hoodies, very dark clothing, very sort of dark magic-esque. He wears a very cool looking cape. It's perfect for what he's meant to be. Personality-wise, I think I would like hanging out with Ororon a lot, actually. He's a very laid-back person, but he's not as shy or as reclusive, I guess, as either Mika or Freminet would be. He would just kind of enjoy having you there and bring you along for whatever he's doing in the day, whether that's taking care of his vegetables or visiting Sidolali or, you know, Sidolali grandma. It's fine. Like, I would actually enjoy it a lot, I think. And he's not as obnoxious as Aoife is. So, win-win all around. Razor is up next, and unfortunately Razor's gameplay is incredibly boring. But I will give him a point because he is, at the very least, unique. Being both physical and electro DPS at the same time means he fills a very peculiar role in the game. Unfortunately, the role is just very bad. He's going into the highest point of D tier because I think it is perfectly okay for what it's attempting to be. It's not a failure like these two guys down here, but I don't see a reason why I would ever really play him. Design-wise, he is attempting to be a dog. He's attempting to be a wolf. He is reclusive, so he's got the hoodie and everything. I think it's fine. He goes into mid-C tier somewhere. It's completely okay. Personality-wise, though, I don't want to spend a day with him, I'm gonna be honest. He's a dog. He's attempting to be a dog. He doesn't really go to humanity anyway, and I don't think he would, like, care that I exist. I don't want to spend a day with him, I'm gonna be real. He can go live in the woods where he wants to be. That's perfectly fine. I don't mind. Last one up then for our list today is Venti. Venti, my little twink. Gameplay-wise for Venti, I think he goes into the B tier. He feels very satisfying to play, and just the fact that he can create a literal black hole is one of the most satisfying things in the entire game. I'm gonna put him a little bit lower, not that the order matters, but I feel better about it. It's weird to say, but just being able to click his burst and watching everything in the field just get sucked into it is awesome. Venti's design makes perfect sense. It's going into A tier somewhere. He's a bard. He wears very frilly clothing. It all screams freedom. It makes perfect sense for him. I don't have a lot of things to bash him on. It's just really good. And lastly, in terms of his personality, I'm going to put him in the tea time tier. Not because we would be drinking tea when you're around him, but because he's kind of obnoxious. More so than Zhongli or Neuvilette would be, but I would still kind of want to sit down with him and just have him tell me stories, even if that means I have to survive his stupid singing. And with that, we have the final aggregated tier list of every single male in the game. What the aggregation actually does is that it takes all of the categories into account and then places them in the tier based on their scores. We are going to cover them very quickly so that you know who the best man ended up being. For the D tier, we've got Mika, Gorou, Diluc, Traveler, Razor, Bennet, and Xiao. Not really surprising here. I would not really want to be spending time with any of these guys, and they are some of my least favorite characters in the game, so it really does make sense. For the C tier, we've got Kaeya, Freminet, Aether, Chongyun, Kinich, Albedo, Tartaglia aka Childe, Wriothesley, Wanderer, and Alhaitham. This is basically the tier of people that I would hang out with in a pinch if I absolutely had to, but again, none of these guys are really my favorite characters for any reason. They aren't the ones I would be pulling for, let's say. On the B tier, we got Baizhu, Kaveh, Heizou, Mr. Waterboy himself, Ayato, Cyno, Kazuha, Tighnari, Venti, Thoma, Zhongli, Ororon, and Lyney. These are definitely people that I would consider to have in my friend group and just kind of hang out with on the regular. All for different reasons, of course, but I think they are genuinely very interesting characters, and I kind of like all of them. And then for the A tier, in 4th place, we've got Gaming, which honestly to me is a bit surprising because I didn't think he would rank that high, but no, I actually kind of like Gaming. Then we've got Itto, my boy. I absolutely adore him. He's just a cool guy. Sethos, and last but not least, Neuvilette. So as it turns out, I've got 4 men that I am perfectly okay with being called a little gay.